Growing tension across the country following another police-involved shooting, this one in Columbus, Ohio.
That's right. We're following the latest for you. In the meantime, some members of Congress who've been advocating for defunding the police now coming under fire for hiring government-funded private security. Watch this confrontation.
Congresswoman, if you support defunding the police, why are you paying for your own security? I'm sorry, ma'am. Do you have any comment on why you want to defund the police, but you're paying for your own security? You want to take resources away, but you're providing them for yourself?
Now, that reporter was asking the question to Representative Cori Bush of Missouri. She represents parts of St. Louis, has openly called for defunding the police, while new reporting shows private security has been commissioned to protect her. Here to react, we welcome Mark McCloskey, attorney at the McCloskey Law Center. He's also a personal injury attorney, and he's also in the St. Louis area as well. So he's aware of this representative and can react to this new development. Mark, thanks for coming on the program today. Just start with your thoughts. Again, this idea, these calls from lawmakers to defund the police, and then new reports emerging that they've got their own security.
The hypocrisy of the left is just always astounding. I mean, Cori Bush stood in front of my gate with a megaphone chanting, "You can't stop the revolution." And then she has the gall to go on the floor of the House and say no one that has supported insurrection should be in the halls of Congress, with reference to our Senator Josh Hawley. She is the only person in Congress that I know of who is directly and inarguably called for a violent overthrow of our government. And here she is wanting to defund the police and then getting private security. You know, these people are without morals, and they're without a soul.
You know, I want to talk to you, too, about the Derek Chauvin case. Of course, that guilty verdict coming in on all 3 counts. Now some lawmakers, including Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, saying this was not justice, this was accountability, the fact that she wanted to see even more, saying it's just the beginning here. What impact does that sort of rhetoric have in regards to Americans who are listening to these comments and statements, and how that could impact their thoughts about the U.S. justice system and how it works?
Well, you know, 38 witnesses were called by the state in the Derek Chauvin trial. Not a single word indicating that the death of George Floyd had anything at all to do with racism or racial animus, and yet the vice president and the president and Maxine Waters all of this fanning the flames of discord, for the president to come out and say, and for the vice president to say, that this is all evidence of systemic racism. These folks, I used a phrase the other day, agents provocateur. There is no basis in fact for alleging that George Floyd's death had anything at all to do with systemic racism, but they sure as heck are trying to fan the flames of division of this country and create a divide between the races. And it's just, it is unacceptable, and the average person has to just recognize that these are lies being told to us by the government to promote their own political agendas.
You know, even during the trial, we saw Congresswoman Maxine Waters travel to Minneapolis. She joined in with some protesters. She called for more confrontation if essentially the verdict that she had wanted to see was not reached. The judge in the trial, Judge Cahill, said perhaps this could lead to an appeal, grounds for an appeal at least. Mark, in your legal expertise, do you think that this sort of, again, inflammatory rhetoric that we'd seen during the trial from the sitting Congresswoman could lead to an appeal on behalf of Derek Chauvin?
Well, you know, it'll really depend on what the individual jurors have to say about their motivation. But just generally, when they go to work every day as jurors, seeing barricades and National Guards and riots in the street, you have to wonder whether or not their verdict was based less on the facts of the case and more on the fear of the outcome. But they saw the evidence. We did not. I'm a big believer in the jury system. It's what I do for a living. But you can't help but wonder how much the fear that if they reach a decision that Ben Crump or Al Sharpton or Maxine Waters don't agree with, that houses will burn, businesses will be destroyed, and people's lives will be lost. It had to weigh in their mind to some degree.
Yeah, again, that, as we know, the verdict came in guilty on all 3 counts. Sentencing is set for 8 weeks from now. But there are also cases against the other 3 officers who were involved in that incident, who were standing by as the incident occurred. And as we said, we've heard from the sitting Congresswoman, we've heard from President Biden as well. Do you think those comments could impact how the jury or judge would rule in those cases?
Well, I'd sure hate to be those defendants. because how can they expect the jurors that are selected in their case to have been immune from all this? And the $27 million settlement that was announced right before the Derek Chauvin trial. All these things are not designed to create a fair and equal administration of justice. These are designed to put your thumb on the scale and make sure that the result comes down in a certain way. It's intimidation. Benjamin Crump, a lawyer just like me, stood outside the courthouse and said that if the jury doesn't come back with a verdict that they like, that the violence in the streets last summer will look like child's play. Is that a threat? Is that jury intimidation? Does he get in trouble for that? No. I mean, I'm still under indictment for having defended myself and not hurting anybody, but here's a lawyer who's willing to threaten the entire nation with violence if a jury doesn't rule the way he wants.
Well, I wanted to get an update from you on that situation because we spoke when we saw the mob surround your home over the summer months here. What's been the reaction? Has there been an update? Do you feel like you're safe in your neighborhood?
Well, you know, that's a good question. We put a thin blue line flag up at our office building, which is right across from the cathedral in St. Louis. And within a few days, I got a bullet through the window of the office. Is that just random St. Louis violence, or is that a message to us? We've had Lexan put on all the front windows of the house. St. Louis just normally is in a remarkably dangerous place. We have a new mayor that wants to decriminalize drug crimes and sex crimes and release prisoners from jail. And as you mentioned, Cori Bush is our representative in the House of Representatives. This is not an environment conducive to safety, and it's not one that is designed to cool off heads and de-escalate the current environment. I have some concerns for what's going to happen this summer.
Some concerns for what could come, you know, and perhaps you could take some action politically. We know that Senator Roy Blunt of Missouri is retiring. There have been some rumors that you yourself are considering running for Senate in the state of Missouri here. Would you care to share an update? Are you going to enter into the race?
Well, I've heard those rumors too. And I have not made a decision yet, and I don't know what my timetable is, but I can tell you this, that we've been both on the Trump campaign trail last fall and summer, and in the speeches that we've given and the communication we've had with the voters in Missouri since. The people are fed up with a new administration just sweeping away our rights. During the campaign, I warned everyone that this was our last chance to save the country, that if the Democrats got elected, if we didn't recover the House, if we didn't retain the Senate and the presidency, that they'd do away with the Second Amendment, they'd seek D.C. and Puerto Rico statehood to create a Democrat majority forever, they would pack the courts, they would do away with the filibuster, they would nationalize election laws, they would nationalize policing. But we did not win, and all those things are now history. And the new president has swept away all those rights with a stroke of a pen. And if H.R. 1 gets passed, we'll never have free elections again. It's a situation where every American citizen, every God-fearing citizen in this state and this country needs to stand up and take a personal position that we will not tolerate that.
You know,
and if I insist that, I will do so.
Okay, and Mark, just really quick for you, have you spoken to the former president, Donald Trump, since since before the election, and would you seek an endorsement if you were to run?
Well, I have not spoken to the president, and I would love to have his endorsement, and I don't know whether or not he's going to endorse anyone. Of course, he's very influential in the party. He is the party as far as I'm concerned, and I would love to have his endorsement. But once again, that's up to him, and for all I know, he's going to stay entirely neutral and see what the people of Missouri think, and I also want to see what the people of Missouri think.
All right. Well, you come back here to Newsmax and you let us know as soon as you come to a decision, if you don't mind. That's Mark McCloskey joining us live here on National Report. We'll wait and see if he wants to run for Missouri Senate. Only time will tell. Mark, thanks so much.
Thank you, Emma.
You got it.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.